We always like to start the show with a little groove. This is the Fox Valley Voice. Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the only live YouTube talk show emanating from the Fox Valley, telling stories about the fun and amazing people, places, and events going on in the Fox Valley. My name is Jaime Gutierrez, and I am your host, and I am very, very excited today to be joined in the studio by Veronica Martinez. Hello, Veronica.
Hello.
And Nicole Chesley.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Veronica and Nicole are with the Fox Valley Theater Guild, a subgroup of the Fox Valley Park District.
That's
correct?
Correct.
And we are here to talk today about Tennessee Williams' great play, The Glass Menagerie, and the Fox Valley Theater Guild's production, which is going on this weekend.
This weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Excellent.
Exciting.
So welcome, as I already mentioned, and welcome to those of you who are watching and listening. If you are, and you have some questions or comments for Veronica and Nicole, feel free to interact with us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fox Valley Voice, or you could submit your questions on YouTube. At this time, I don't know if I'm going to see them or not because I forgot to set that up.
So we'll call you later.
So Fox, the Facebook is probably your best bet on this one. But what I'd like to do is I would like to ask some questions about the Fox Valley Theater Guild in general, and then we'll talk specifically about your production of Glass Menagerie going on this weekend. So, Nicole, you are the director, so I'm going to start with you.
Not of the Guild, just of this. Yes,
of
just
this,
of this
the
play.
production.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, and you guys can both feel free to jump in whenever. But so give us the lowdown on what is the Fox Valley Theater Guild. Oh, you're going to pass it over to Veronica. Okay, let's see.
So we started in 2012, and it was basically adults that wanted more of a theater scene available. Through the Park District, it's a lot of kids with the summer stage and the winter stage. And so it was something that sort of started as a little seed of, why can't we do this? And Catherine Weathers was actually the one that sort of started it up with Kyle, who is the director of the performing arts at the Fox Valley Park District. And we've just been... we just wanted to be able to choose our own shows, direct our own shows, be in our own shows, and kind of be a part of the community. We wanted to tell and show children that this is something that they can do if they're passionate about, outside of something necessarily professional. So being part of the community theater it's always exciting. Through the Guild, we've actually been able to do, we've done some caroling. We did bullying, sort of an anti-bullying campaign with the school district. We've done that twice, 2 years now, where we've had children submit their anti-bullying stories, and then we would turn them into a script and perform them in front of their school. So that's been a lot of fun. I was able to do that with them.
That was actually a really neat process to see everything that the kids submitted and their own stories, and the ones that took it very seriously and took it to heart and were really honest. And the process is still the same, whether we're going through it as adults or the kids are going through it on stage. The process is the same. We need a story. We need a script. We need actors. So it is really neat to see, especially at the community level.
Yeah. Do you, now that sounds like there would be some interesting stories that came out of that particular project. Is there anything that you remember as far as a bullying scenario that was presented to you that kind of sticks out?
There was one that was kind of fun to do because the student used animals to represent.
That's the one I was thinking,
yes,
the bunnies.
There were bunnies, and so we took it. And we ended up using puppets because there weren't enough of us on stage to represent all of the bullies. And so I actually had 2 puppet hands, and I was one of the bullies. So I was essentially the 3 bullies for that one production. It was a lot of fun for that one little show. I think what's really interesting, too, is, like, you forget what they must be going through, like kids must be going through with like cyberbullying and, you know, what's so readily available with a cell phone and how they can use that against each other. So that was kind of eye-opening too, to hear.
Yeah, because that stuff wasn't around necessarily when we were youngsters.
Yeah, how many kids contributed to having a story about bullying.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that was one project you worked on. And how about, what were some of the previous productions that you've done through the Guild?
We started with a musical. We did the Schoolhouse Rock, which was a lot of fun. I was able to be a part of that production as well. And then after Schoolhouse Rock, we did, and I'm cheating over here because they gave me a list of them. Hold on a second.
It's okay.
And that's why I passed the question to her.
Yeah. So Schoolhouse Rock was summer of 2013. Then we did Rumors the winter of 2014. That was a lot of fun too. It was really nice to see a lot more, not necessarily Guild members that came out, because Rumors is such a known story, and it's one of those almost slapstick kind of comedies. It's a farce, and so you've got a lot of movement going on. So we were able to get a lot of community members to get on board, great actors in the community that, you know, may not be doing acting outside of what they just did with Rumors. So that was a lot of fun to see. Arsenic and Old Lace. We did that summer of 2014, and now we're doing Glass Menagerie. So we're trying to do about 2 a year.
Okay.
The next one will be, it's You're a Good, what is it?
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown?
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. That's the one.
Okay.
And we're having auditions coming up for that too.
Okay.
And now these are shows that are chosen, sponsored, and also the Guild helps produce them. But it's not the only acting opportunities that are offered for adults. So I think, you know, it was always kind of peppered with that at the Fox Valley. But because of the Guild, you know, now these adults have more opportunity, and it's showing the drama department, okay, well, you know, there's people in our community who want to do this. And so these are the ones sponsored by the Guild, but there also are other opportunities for adults that the Guild members try out for and get to participate in. So,
okay. I'm wondering who are the people who are participating and acting in these productions? Do they typically have a theater background, or do you have folks coming out that have never acted?
Well, you know what? We get the full spectrum.
Yeah.
We really do. We get people who have studied, like myself, I studied theater in college, and then life sort of happens
and you get off stage.
Yeah, exactly. And then this is a great opportunity, because it's something I'm passionate about. I don't always have the time to dedicate and to commit, but when I can audition for something and we do 6 weeks of rehearsals and then 1 weekend show, it's not as heavy of a commitment as maybe some other productions. And then you have people who maybe they did something in grade school and they're like, I kind of like that, but I never did anything again. You know, where can I go as a complete newbie? And
well, there's something very magical that happens, and I know that sounds, you know, it sounds so fruity, but there really is something magical that happens. And whether it's just having enough guts to get up there, or, I mean, I have a degree and I learned more about myself being on stage and through the arts than I ever did through my book work and through, you know, so to do it as a child, the confidence you get, you know, that stays with you. And then I think as adults, they're, you know, everybody kind of is drawn to it in some way. And maybe you don't want to be in the spotlight. Maybe you want to be behind the microphone. Maybe you want to be, you know, at the board. Maybe you want to be props or doing the scene. There is so much to be done. There's so many things. My favorite story about getting involved is there's a couple whose son, 13, I think, decided to give it a try. And so they tried out with him for one of the productions because they thought this can be great for his confidence. Like, let's do it. Let's do it as a family. Great thing. So they were in Shrek with their son, the mom and dad, and they got the bug. And so the next show they did together was just an adult show. And, you know, so it's just, and then it rolls from there. And then he did Addams Family and they didn't. And, you know, so it just really, it rolls from there.
So there's now they're always a theater
opportunity.
Family.
And now they are a theater family. Yeah. Our assistant director, Jonathan, hope you're listening. He is kind of, now he's like, oh, great. Now I'm a theater geek. You know, like he kind, you know, he did a little bit as a kid and it never really left him. And
it's totally that one.
Yeah. And now now he's kind of like, okay, I really get it. And it's in my blood. And, you know, it's always there.
You know, you bring up that term, and it was certainly something that was discussed when I was in school as a youngster, you know, the theater nerds or the theater geeks. But it seems to me that nowadays, that's not such a bad thing.
Oh no.
You know, it's like geekery in general is more
Yeah.
accepted.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're a computer geek or if you're a gamer or if you're a theater person, it's not like a negative thing anymore.
You know why? Because community is so important, and we all need it, and we all thrive in it. And so wherever you find that connection,
You're
that's
weird like me.
That's your. Then that's totally cool.
Yeah, but it seemed like, 20 years ago when I was in school, and people would like hide and be
Right.
like, no, I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So
Closeted geeks.
Yeah. So be proud, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure. And then just real briefly, what has been your experience in the past as far as theater? So you said you studied in college.
I went to Columbia for theater, and then I did nothing for a little while. But then I started with the Aurora Junior Women's Club here in Aurora, and did a couple shows with them, and then the Theater Guild. So yeah, I've actually been at the Riverfront for one show, which. That's an amazing experience.
That's a great space.
That's a fun room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the space is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then it's a little more intense in that you have 6 weekends of performances. So you have 12
Right.
shows. And the show just evolves every weekend. Like, it doesn't even really feel. And then you don't want it to end, and then it does. And you're like, oh, good. I can take a break. But it's a whirlwind, and it's lovely. So.
Yeah, and mine's a similar story. Studied, acted in high school, studied and acted in college, and I have a theater degree. And then, like you say, life starts to happen. And I always joke now that I love being a voice actress because I can be chubby and gray haired, and nobody cares. So when you go to an audition, it's if you fit the look, then they'll see you, kind of thing. And no, so I don't have to deal with any of that now. But my experience getting back into it was my son. Just kind of was into it, kind of liked it. And my husband's a musician, and, I love being on stage. And so we really wanted to support that. And however they want to be creative, it doesn't have to be the arts. And so I thought, well, let's get over to Briscoe Center. Let's get our butts in the seats. We didn't know anyone in our first show. Veronica was in that show, actually. A few years ago, we didn't know anyone in the show, but I wanted to support it, and I wanted to, my kids to grow up in that environment. And so by then, we sat in a couple shows, and I just was so sick of myself for not being on stage for so long that I just called them up and said, when's your next adult audition? And I like that it was just a weekend. It may have been 2 weekends for that show, but it was a smaller commitment. I actually could still swing my work schedule and family schedule and do rehearsals and performances. So, then I was in.
But just sitting in the crowd, though, you felt that pull.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There is something
It's like, why
really
am I not
special
up there?
about, and especially on the community level. I love that. Last night at our first tech, we couldn't tell, was that my sound cue or is that the party going on next door? and so Kyle, our director, is a little bit like, oh gosh, and are you okay with that? I love that part of it.
There's the dance class going on.
Yes, we hear the taps going when we're on stage.
Brilliant.
One of my cues for the last show, I had to run around the building in order to come in for a different part of the stage. And I literally had to leap over moms and shoes and coats and go through a dance class like within 60 seconds. So I love that somebody wanders in and says, oh, I didn't know something was going on in this room. And there's something happening. Every time I pull up, I just feel so blessed that the parking lot is full. It could be a Sunday, a Tuesday, the parking lot's always full. And I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing.
And that's a nice facility down there. It's very very well taken care of. And how is it regarding the theater, the technical aspect of that?
We're growing. We're getting there.
It's amazing, some of the things, even when we did Schoolhouse Rock to now, like some of the lighting that we have. There's a lot more in
that
the
can
sound.
be controlled remotely
I
and
know,
pre-programmed. And those geeks, I get very excited when things change color and start moving around. So no, it is. I think that the guild is also kind of responsible for some of that because they push a little bit, and because there's demand for these shows, and if there's butts in the seats, if people are coming out, so please come out, check out the website. But
And then you guys get a little extra resources.
There's a demand for it. I don't even mean financially. I just mean if people are wanting to do these shows and they're wanting to do bigger shows and they're wanting to have more production value, then let's do it. Let's do what we can. And the budget's always very, very tight, and so we beg, borrow, and deal as much as we can. But it's
Down to
growing.
props
But,
if we need to.
Yeah. And that's a big room. You could fit a lot of people in that room if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can open it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the ballroom doors can move, and you can. So as many tickets as you can sell, we can keep opening doors and fit the chairs in.
Nice. So perhaps we should get into this production, The Glass Menagerie. It's a play that I've heard about for my entire life, but I figured since I was having you guys on the show, I should actually probably check it out. So I did go back and I watched the 1973 version with Katharine Hepburn.
Okay.
She
And
plays Amanda.
We had one gal who came to auditions, and she's a guild member, and she was like, I got to be real honest. I'm not sure I have time for this show, but I want to support you guys. I want to come for auditions. If you need a body, I will be a body for you. And, she's like, yeah, well, I just kind of wanted to throw my head in the ring. If Katharine Hepburn played it, I kind of want to see if I can play it too. So she said, so if I do end up playing her, I can at least say she and I shared a role, So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah. So I am now familiar with the story, and this is the play that launched Tennessee Williams into the stratosphere as far as a playwright, and he then went on to do Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and now it's escaping me. Another super famous.
I know.
Yeah. But it's the thing that struck me after, and we don't want to give away any spoilers because there's there's some good stuff in this story. But the thing that I walked away from this story is if it's the first time that you're watching this play, you're not going to be able to watch it again the same way. So like the first time that you see this story, that's really like it's going to have the most impact on you as a viewer. So that was the one thing that I came away with from this story. So for those of you out there who have never seen Glass Menagerie, be prepared because it's good. It's a good story.
It's good. It's deep, man.
Yeah, it is. So, but it's basically, it's kind of like an autobiographical story. This is the role of Tom is basically Tennessee Williams, growing up in a dysfunctional family situation.
Aren't we all? Yes.
So if you had to give a non-spoiler synopsis of the story, how would you describe it?
I think something we all face is the, very delicate balance between feeding ourselves and pouring out to other people. And so, that is kind of at the heart of this play, is that really tough decision on living my own life and being there for the people who need me. So at the very basic, that's how, that's the angst that we deal with.
Angst. That's a good word. This play was written, what, 40s, 50s?
I think, probably 40s.
Okay. And it's just amazing. The theme, the underlying current that runs through this play, it's like, it's kind of eye-opening that, the stuff that we're going through nowadays has just been around ever since there have been families, basically.
Exactly.
I think it's human nature to tend to think that we're the only ones who are going through whatever we're going through. And then you look at this and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the oldest story ever. It's like this has just been going on forever. So,
and the style of it is really interesting too, because it is a memory play, and I like how some things and the way time sort of passes in the play. So it's a unique sort of take.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it is in part autobiographical, but because it's a memory play specifically, it's almost like it's his truth. And really, whoever is writing, it really is their truth. Right. But so I think that's the interesting part, is it's his recollection of what he's wanting to tell. So
that term that you're bringing up, memory play, what does that exactly mean?
In essence, it is time has passed. And so Tom, our young man in the story, the time has passed and he's made his life decisions, whatever those may be, and he's looking back on his life in order to tell us a story and hit some of the important highlights leading up to his path in life.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about the story itself. And do you have any good stories about the whole process at the Fox Valley Theater Guild, between auditions and we're now at Tech Week, right?
Right. Yeah.
So what can you tell me about this specific production of The Glass Menagerie?
Oh, I have to say there were a couple of moments where we weren't sure if this show was going to happen. We weren't.
It's community theater, so I think that happens a lot.
Yeah, it's community theater, and in all theater, in every single production I have ever been in, you have to just keep reminding yourself these things have a way of coming together right at the last minute. And sometimes it is literally in the last 5 minutes before the curtain goes up, and then something happens, and it is okay. But there are many, many, many moments leading into the actual production
roller
where
coaster of
like really, oh my word. But this one in particular, this is a very hard play. It's a hard subject matter. It's famous literature. If you are young, you're being introduced to it in school. If you are old, it's nostalgic for you. This is a very difficult piece to work with. And I don't know if, maybe people thought, well, I don't know if I have the chops to do Tennessee. Well, I'm not sure. So we didn't have as many people at tryouts as we would have wanted.
Maybe they were intimidated. That's what you're saying?
I'm not sure, maybe. But so with this, you really want to take the cream of the crop because they've got to have some dramatic chops to do this. And I've got to say, I'm really pleasantly surprised. We hit our pivotal moment just 1 week ago where we were like, we're either going to have a show or we're not going to have a show. And I don't mean the show wouldn't go on. In all respects,
Right.
The show will always go on.
The show must go on.
But I'm talking like now we have a show, people. Yeah. And so we really hit that pivotal moment. And a couple more days went by and we came back together and all of a sudden just the pieces started to fall into place and like the character development was there. And so I don't know how the actors felt, but from, the director's standpoint, that's all of a sudden it was like, all right, we turned that corner. Like here we are. Here we are. Yeah.
I mean, and it's still,
to where you felt like we've got the full picture now.
We have the full picture. Yeah. And I think we slid into it right in the right time because it was just before we hit Tech. And Tech, there's always a lot of bumps and pauses and stops and we got to get things right.
Change.
And things change and now you're doing this and I was practicing this. And so, I think it was really right in the sweet spot for us.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And we're getting some behind the scenes kind of information from you because typically as a patron of theater, all you do is you show up and you sit down and there's the show, right? So I guess that's an interesting part of it is all the effort and the craziness that goes into the finished product.
Oh, and we have some really great people too. Marissa, who is designing the scene, she works like a dog. Every time you see her, she's covered in paint. And she's just like, I'm in my pajamas today, if anybody can see that. And she's like, oh, I don't even notice. I go into the store and I'm covered in paint. I don't even notice. And people are looking at me. So, that's her world. She's one of those theater geeks who's in her element. That's her world. But the people who work to make these things happen, and you sit there, and we were designing light cues the other day, and you do, as a guest of a show, you're just brought on this ride, and it's very subtle, and things just happen, and you don't even realize that they are coaxing your emotion with the scene and the sounds and the music because it is just so subtle. But it's not subtle to get you there. It's hard work and trial and error, and it takes a lot of different people. And so it's really, really neat. And I love that we can do something this grand as the Glass Menagerie at our community theater. I mean, that's really, really rad. That's important.
Yeah. Are there ever any points where you think to yourself, during the actual production, you got people in the seats, they're watching, and you're thinking to yourself, if you guys only knew what it took
Oh, don't you all the time? Yeah, yeah.
And
sometimes it's a full house, and when there's a larger cast and it's a comedy, comedies always sell better than dramas. But when there's fewer people, I find that, then I just really feel for the actors because it is the same amount of effort no matter how many people are there, no matter how much, money you make or, how much reward you get from the audience applause or anything like that. And so it's a lot of work, and it is very rewarding in itself, but it's so much better when you have that live audience because then, like Veronica said, the show evolves. And some nights people laugh at different spots and you think, what? There are a few spots where we say, just so you know, they're going to laugh here, so you're going to want to hold your line. But then there's other parts and we're like, why is that funny? The entire audience was laughing. So we're very married to the work. We see it every day. We know every line to every person's, So it is a different experience when you get new folks
because
seeing it for the
everybody
first time.
puts their own life into it, right?
Yeah.
You get your own experience and you say, oh, this, parallels to me for whatever reason. And and it's great.
Yeah.
I love having that audience there. And
That was a question we asked in the auditions too. We asked some personal questions, and we wanted to find out, not necessarily about their family, but memories with their family and how they communicate with their families, because I wanted to make sure they were going to have some emotional connection to what they were going to go through.
Well, and maybe good for you that pretty much families are just insane as a general rule, so those emotions probably aren't too far away for most people. Do you feel like taking a couple of questions from Facebook?
We'd love it.
Okay.
thank you, Tobin.
Well, yes. So we've got Jonathan Tobin is out there, and he would like to ask a question of each of you. So first up, we'll go with Nicole. He wants to know, what special directorial touches do you think you have imprinted on this show?
Oh, well, did you ask this just because I was going to mention you? We have, this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous because it's so antiquated, but we are using a projector, and it's really cool. So in the original play, in the original script, it wrote in for some imagery. And we really thought, okay, how can we jazz this up? How can we make this visually more interesting? Because there's only 4 actors, there's a lot of dialogue, and it's deep and angry stuff. And so we were really thinking, how can we play up that this is a memory play, and how can we honor something that's in the original script that really does not translate to technology today, and make it something that we're visually proud of. And I think we've made it. there.
Okay, so that's something special to look forward to. Veronica, are you available for a question?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hold on, let me check now.
All right, so also this one is from Jonathan as well. Can you explain your approach to playing Laura? So for those of you at home keeping score, Laura is the sister and the daughter.
Exactly.
And she's a little bit different.
She's right.
Yes.
Peculiar, I think, has been used.
I say creepy, she says peculiar. It's, yeah.
I think Laura, she's one of those characters. As an actor, you go in and you want to there's always a little bit of yourself, right? I think with Laura, I hazard to say it, and maybe other people will look at me differently, but I thought she was more of a challenge because she is so fragile, and she's so, it's like,
she's very dependent.
She's very dependent. And so, I think, I don't know.
And that's probably not you.
As a proud Latina, I'd like to say that I could, And so there's a lot of that, I'm finding myself, really being true to that vulnerability and trying to give respect to that, because I think in a lot of ways vulnerability is important, and to be able to open yourself up that way is definitely scary, and it's it's a little bit off-putting, and maybe somewhere you don't always want to tread, but for Laura, you have to be true to that vulnerability in order for her truth to come out. So
I hadn't seen Veronica. I mean, we have only been acquainted for a couple of years, but I hadn't seen her in anything like this. And so when I heard that she was going to audition, and she had a lot of scheduling stuff to kind of work out in order to make this work, and so it was almost kind of a well, I'm half in, I want to do it, but I'm not sure yet. And then Jonathan and I immediately started protecting the fact that she could be our Laura. And we were tossing things around. Should we make Tom an older sister? Should we make, we were just tossing around, how could we make this modern? And we just immediately saw her as Laura. And so we, there was no other option unless Veronica can't be Laura. So we immediately thought this would be such a challenge for her. And we just really were excited to see what she was going to do with it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it as being a stretch for you, but that's part of the joy of acting, right?
Absolutely.
You get to be somebody else for a while. And so excellent. Thank you, Jonathan, for listening and submitting your questions. We've got a couple minutes left here. I guess something just occurred to me to ask Nicole. How how is it that you are directing this show? Are you more of a director nowadays? You're not going to be on stage anymore? Or?
No, never. I don't know. Maybe Kyle thought I was bossy and thought I could handle it. Oh, no. Again, I've been around
Not
for
at all.
Right. She's like, please don't take me out of the show. I think, I just was around for a couple of shows, and my kids also do some things at the Park District. And so just through conversations with Kyle, and I was really vocal too about if there's anything I can do, let me know, because I know how important volunteering and again, just having bodies around to help and to watch and to, be available. And so it just kind of gradually started from there. We have a couple of core people who do a lot. And so I think it was in part, they wanted a break and wanted somebody they could trust to step in. And so we'll see. I hope I'm doing okay. We'll see if he invites me back.
How many shows have you directed?
Only 4,
Okay.
I have to say. Only 4, yeah.
Well, that's a lot more than most of us. So.
Yeah, and I've been around this my whole life, and I really think
You feel like you stepped into it kind of naturally, or
yeah, like I said, being on stage teaches you so much about yourself. I've been a dance coach, I've been an event manager, so all of those things, it's true, all the world's a stage. So all of those things are putting a production together. They are coordinating and matching and anticipating your audience, and so it really is the same formula, and so I think it was just a natural fit.
Excellent. So you've got the skills. All right, let us. We need to tell everybody about number 1, how they can get involved with the Fox Valley Theater Guild, and then also number 2, how can we get people to your show this weekend? So, what's the best way to for folks to get more information and possibly get involved with the guild? As we're furiously swiping through our smartphone notes.
For the Theater Guild, we do have monthly meetings. It's right now we are not taking any dues. We did try that for a little while, but now we're doing it without any dues, so people are welcome to join us and do for the play selection and things like that. So just go to the Fox Valley Park District and get information about our next meeting.
Okay, excellent. And tickets are available for the show. And I don't think I had a direct link for the tickets on.
Yep, there's it's seatyourself.biz.
Yeah, seat yourself.
/ Fox Valley Park District.
Excellent.
I believe they're $8 in advance or $10 at the door.
Right.
That is extremely affordable.
Yes, it is. And
affordable.
again, for a Tennessee Williams piece.
Yeah. How long does it run approximately? Are we telling people?
It is, I'd say, 2 hours with the intermission.
Okay. So for 2 hours of local community theater fun, I would say that's a good ticket right there. And that's this Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
This Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Anything else we need to throw in there before we let you go?
Well, we do have the auditions for Your Good Man, Charlie Brown in June, but also the Park District is having auditions for A Midsummer Night's Dream, and auditions are March 11th at 6 p.m.
Yeah,
and that's at Fox
I know. I'm
Valley Park
excited
District.
about that one too.
And we're actually bringing somebody in who knows her stuff about Shakespeare, so it's really exciting. So you really should check out the Fox Valley Park District and see what they have available for adults, because we do have quite a few.
I am going to withhold my personal feelings about Shakespeare.
Until the microphones are off?
Yeah. But I wish you guys would break your legs. Is that how I'm supposed to say it?
That works. Break legs, everybody.
No, I like to
want
tell
you-
people, hey, I'm about to I'll break your leg.
No.
I want you guys to have broken legs this weekend.
The first time someone told my 6-year-old son performing at the Park District that, he was like, Mom, did you hear what they said? So, depends on the audience. Know your audience.
But yes, and I hope everything goes well, and we've got plenty of folks there to enjoy your hard work for these past 6 weeks.
Thank you
Come
so
see us,
much.
come see us.
Absolutely. So thank you to Veronica Martinez, thank you Nicole Chesley, and thank you to Jonathan for listening and putting in your question there. We are very excited because my next show is actually going to be a Sunday show, which I've never done before. It's going to be next Sunday, and I'm actually a little bit nervous even thinking about it because I am going to have the honor and pleasure of talking to Mr. Jim Corti, who is the artistic director at the Paramount Theater.
He's one of my most favorite people.
He is an incredible person and a very talented director. And so for those of you who may or may not be familiar, the Broadway series at the Paramount has been a crazy, wild, runaway success for the past few years. And he has been a major part of that. So we are going to talk to him about the series up to this point, and also they've got Les Miserables coming up here next week. I think it starts, doesn't it?
2 more weeks.
Within the
Two
next
more
couple
weeks.
of weeks, anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll promote that for him as well. So stay tuned and check out the Fox Valley Voice Facebook page for more information about our show with Jim Corti. My leg is shaking like right now because I'm just trying to.
I'll give you some tips on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Give me some notes?
Yeah,
Okay.
give me some notes.
Thank you. You're still in that director
He's
mode
a
right now.
total peach. You will love it. You'll have a great time.
I've seen him speak actually in front of a group of people.
Okay.
And
Just between us, he likes Jameson Neat.
okay. Oh, is that right? Okay. I'll have to stop by on the way to the show. Pick something up for him. But so excellent. Thank you very much for watching, and we will talk with you next time. Stay warm. Spring's almost here.
Yay! Thank you.